Episode 186. The Chin family name really does work wonders. The waiter immediately began nodding and bowing, his flattery growing even more sycophantic as he hurried off to hasten the order of wine and dishes. As for Han Li, every ounce of his focus was locked onto the cultivators seated not far from him. What puzzled him was that the blue-robed man in his 30s looked vaguely familiar, as if he had seen him somewhere before. He racked his brain, but came up with nothing. The men among this group were all drinking their sorrows in silence, their faces etched with worry, while the two women stared blankly at the feast before them, not even touching their chopsticks, as if they had no appetite at all. Judging by the look of them, they'd run into some serious trouble. This really didn't look like a demonic cultivator who'd infiltrated the Yu Kingdom.
Young master, the food is here. Please eat while it's hot.
By now, the waiter had already laid out the full spread. The table was packed to the brim.
Let's just eat together.
Han Li didn't stand on ceremony. He grabbed a mouthful of food and chewed vigorously. But secretly, he extended his spiritual sense, keeping a close watch on every move those cultivators made. Just as Qin Ping was about to pick up his chopsticks after seeing Han Li start eating, the oldest, dark-faced cultivator at that table suddenly stopped drinking and released an invisible soundproof barrier, enveloping them all within it.
Let's just eat something. Since our lives are in someone else's hands now, we, the 5 friends of Mount Maine, can only take things one step at a time. At least we didn't end up with our souls scattered to the winds. That's more than the others can say.
The soundproof barrier was in place, and the dark-faced old man's voice was low, but to Han Li's ears, every word came through crystal clear. The soundproofing spell cast by a Qi condensation cultivator was utterly useless against Han Li's formidable spiritual sense. However, the old man's words gave Han Li hope. Perhaps he could overhear some secrets after all. Perhaps the dark-faced elder's persuasion had finally taken effect. The two women silently ate a few bites of their meal, but given their distracted demeanor, it was clear they tasted nothing.
Big brother, are we really going to let them push us around from now on? If it comes to it, we could secretly tip off the other sects. They'd definitely be able to take these people out.
Fourth brother, if only it were that simple.
Big brother, why not? Don't the 7 sect people want to wipe out these bandits? At least a few hundred of our Yu country comrades have fallen into their hands, one after another.
In contrast to the heated words of the younger pair, the man and woman in their 40s exchanged a wordless, bitter smile. It seemed they understood the dark-faced old man's concerns all too well. Han Li was taken aback. He felt like he was on the verge of grasping something significant. Yet his expression remained perfectly composed as he took several more bites, earning a hearty compliment from Qin Ping on his excellent appetite. Han Li's face flushed slightly as he chuckled, seeming to realize the impropriety, and slowed his pace of picking up dishes.
Asking the 7 sects for help is completely useless. First of all, we rogue cultivators all know the state those 7 sects are in right now. They've already thrown every last person they have into the fight, and it's still touch and go whether they can hold back the demonic pass invasion. How could they possibly spare anyone to help us? You need to understand, among these villains, there are cultivators at the Foundation establishment stage. Sending ordinary cultivators after them would be utterly useless. Second, even if the 7 sects truly valued fellowship and sent people to wipe them out, they'd have no way to even find them. These scoundrels always wore masks, never showing their true faces. Even the place where they forced us that day was just some random ruined temple. Not to mention, they placed some bizarre restriction on us. If we don't let them cast their spell on time, we'll drop dead on the spot. Since they're letting us leave so easily, these restrictions won't be so simple to break.
So we really have to be accomplices? Help them frame other cultivators?
Fifth sister, like Big Brother said, For now, we can only take things one step at a time. At least the buffer period is long enough. Let's hope that by then, the 5 friends of Meng Mountain can come up with a way out that satisfies everyone.
But they all knew this was nothing but self-deception. If they couldn't come up with a good plan in a day or two, what made them think a few more months would bring a way out? With that said, they fell silent once more, their worried expressions returning. By this point, Han Li had pieced it together. They were talking about the very disappearances of cultivators that had been plaguing Yu Kingdom's cultivation world in recent years.
It seems these people were caught by the mastermind, then released under threat. But from the way they spoke, they're still under someone's thumb, forced to do harm to others. I think it's best I stay out of this. After all, for so many cultivators to vanish without a trace, and for the culprit to remain at large this long without being exposed, it means the one pulling the strings is certainly cunning and no ordinary character. And if he can command Foundation establishment cultivators, there might even be a core formation cultivator backing him. A mere Foundation establishment cultivator like me. In these troubled times, it's best not to court disaster.
Having made his decision, Han Li withdrew his spiritual sense and paid the group of cultivators no further mind.
These people are unlucky, pitiful even, but they're nothing to me. I won't risk my neck for strangers. They'll have to fend for themselves. Besides, the 7 sects are exactly as that dark-faced elder said. They're fully occupied fighting the demonic cultivators with no time to spare. Even if I reported it up the chain, no one would bother with this kind of idle matter.
With no need to eavesdrop on others, Han Li focused entirely on his meal, occasionally pointing out novel sights outside the window and peppering Qin Ping with questions, feigning curiosity. Qin Ping, of course, explained everything in painstaking detail. By the time the meal was over, Han Li had polished off most of the dishes, leaving Qin Ping utterly astonished.
This young master of mine, not only is he bursting with energy, but his appetite is no small matter either.
At that moment, the cultivators at the other table rose and headed downstairs. Han Li caught a clear look at them as they left, still wearing that dejected expression. It seemed they wouldn't be coming up with any good ideas anytime soon. Witnessing this, Han Li wolfed down a few more bites before telling Qin Ping to settle the bill and leave. But Qin Ping just chuckled, then pulled out a Qin Manor waist token from his person and swaggered downstairs. In no time at all, he came back upstairs to report to Han Li.
Young master, I've already left my pass as collateral. Just tell the manager to come to our estate at month's end to settle the bill. No need for us to pay out of pocket for this meal. The young master of the Qin residence spends several hundred silver taels each month and then reports it back to the manor for reimbursement. I've already charged this meal to your account, sir.
Han Li was a bit surprised by this, struck by the sheer extravagance of the Qin household. A flicker of bewilderment crossed his face, but he quickly gave a few vague nods and led Qin Ping downstairs. That afternoon, Han Li didn't continue on foot. Instead, at Qin Ping's suggestion, he hailed a 2-wheeled carriage and took a ride around several key locations in Yujing. He'd missed plenty of spots, but at least he had a rough mental map of the terrain and main districts now. No more stepping out of the Qin estate and being completely lost in the capital. That evening, a thoroughly satisfied Han Li finally returned to the Qin estate. This time, the gatekeeper Qin Gui rushed out of his lodge before Han Li even got out of the carriage, fawning over him with great eagerness. He was terrified that this newly arrived young master Han still held a grudge over yesterday's failure to recognize his worth. He had to turn this impression around, and fast. And how could Han Li still hold a grudge over something as trivial as yesterday's incident? Right now, his mind was entirely occupied with how to ensure the safety of the Qin residents.
If worst comes to worst, at the very least I have to keep Qin Yan alive. Otherwise, I won't be able to face my master when I return.
With that thought, Han Li made up his mind and calmly entered the Qin estate. That evening, Han Li made no effort to avoid anyone as he went straight to find his Uncle Qin. he spoke with him at length in the private chamber before returning, visibly pleased. Starting from the second day, everyone who knew Qin Yan noticed a strange young man by his side, rough and countrified, clearly no native of Yuqing.
Brother Li, Brother Wang, this is a junior from my elder's side. I hope you two will look after him well.
Those who associated with Qin Yan were either high-ranking officials or wealthy merchants. Though they found it odd that this young man never left Qin Yan's side, after failing to dig up anything on Han Li, the wily old foxes naturally put on their kindliest elder faces. And so Han Li had finally gotten his first taste of Yu Jing's upper circles. In the blink of an eye, over 2 months had passed, and Han Li truly seemed to have become the young master of the Qin estate. Not only did he receive the same treatment as Qin Yan's own children, but the old master now took him along to every business meeting and social visit without exception, as if he truly intended to groom him for greatness. As a result, the rumor that Han Li was the old master's illegitimate son spread from the Qin estate to the outside world, stirring up quite a storm of gossip among the families acquainted with the Qins. As for Qin Yan, he paid no attention to these rumors whatsoever, which only further solidified their credibility.
As it turned out, some of the more impatient Qin family members, whether nudged by their elders or just fancying themselves clever, tried to sound Han Li out about the rumor's truth. But faced with Han Li's feigned idiocy, they all came away empty-handed.
Over time, the residents of the Zai residence tacitly acknowledged Han Li's status as the young master of the Zai family, believing that Zai Yan's deep affection for him was merely an attempt to assuage his own guilt. Though the favored sons and daughters of the Qin household were deeply resentful, under the old man's iron hand, they dared not make any obvious moves against Han Li. They could only pinch their noses and swallow their pride for now. But behind his back, they cursed Han Li more than once. What they didn't know was that every night, while cultivating his technique indoors, he would unfailingly envelop the entire Qin estate with his spiritual sense. Though he could never sustain it for long, it was more than enough to uncover many people's secrets. Han Li caught every word of their bitter complaints, clear as day.